The Western Hunting and Conservation Expo, put on by the Mule Deer Foundation in Salt Lake City, is probably my favorite show. I get to spend 3 days with great people, and there's always a chance to win a limited tag in the raffles.
Well, you know, it's a unique program we have. We have a great partnership with the Division of Wildlife Resources that allows us to have this drawing for those 200 permits. And the way it works is it's a $5 application fee. You can only apply for each hunt one time. So it gives the average guy, you know, we were all competing on the same level playing field. And so at the end of it, when it's all said and done and the hard cost is covered, you know, our group ends up with probably just a little over $500,000.
No kidding. That's significant dollars going back into the ground, and that's a whole bunch of $5 tags. Funny story, I didn't expect it to be released till Friday. I think that's what you put in, whatever the date is. I was down on a javelina hunt, meeting the guy I was hunting with on Thursday night. We're sitting at dinner, and all of a sudden, and I try to avoid my phone when you're sitting there, and it started bing, 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 and I'm like, what the heck's going on? And there were about 5 or 6 people. Is this you taking screenshots? Willi Schmidt, South Cache. I was like, well, I've got to take this guy's, and he's a big hunter, so I just couldn't believe it.
All right, thanks. So we just met up with Willi, and we've been watching a few bulls for the past couple weeks. Go see if we can find some.
Okay.
Look at some trailheads. Get you some direction for tomorrow.
Yep, perfect.
See if we can turn something up to get you on first thing in the morning.
Or at least a trailhead or a glassing spot or something. So
yeah, so there's a couple places just close to here, a couple nice spots that we can glass from until dark, and should be good. It's nice weather. It's cooling off a little bit at night, so I noticed that some of the leaves were on the aspens were yellow on the way
already.
Out.
We were talking about that in Denver, that normally you don't even start thinking about that, and some stuff's already changing. So
yeah, so it'll be good. Go look for some elk. Hopefully we can turn up a few tonight.
This is where we glassed the elk up from last night. Down there in some of those deep canyons. There's probably 25. It looked like at least 2 herds, a couple of bulls. So we'll sit up here, and even if we see some, we'll watch where they move and bed, and then make a game plan. But this deep canyon here is apparently a spot that James and his family have seen elk throughout the years, and they've killed a couple in this general area, so it's a good place to start. Get the spotting scope set up and just spend a little bit of time here. Maybe one will pop up right here and we'll kill him this morning. So get in the bottom, probably see what the wind's doing and try a few calling. Maybe try a blind setup, call him a little bit. Freaking rolled over on my ankle. Something popped. It rolled to the outside. I rolled over it kind of like this, and it went behind me. The smartest thing to do is to get back to camp and ice it. Oh gosh, we got elk within a half mile and some maybe closer. And it's just killing me, but gotta live to hunt another day and not try to screw it up any worse than it is right now.
So I think for this afternoon with my ankle, we're going to explore a new area, a little more moderate terrain, but we're going to take the ridge bikes out and get back in there 3/4 of a mile to a mile. James said there's some water up in there, some elk transition over the saddle to the water, then out to feed and back and forth, and just learn a new area. So we're just going to do that this afternoon, lighten the pack a little bit just to get comfortable riding the bike with some weight on the back, and wear a backpack. Need the essentials in case we kill something. A little food, water, and decoy. Hopefully we'll need that. Give it a whirl.
Pretty cool. Those elk had no clue we were coming up on them. It took them a while to stand up and trot off. We'll just go up here 150 yards, do some lost calf noises, see if we can get a bull to respond. Even if he comes in silent, we may even call the cows back to us. Wasn't the big bull we wanted, but it was pretty exciting. I don't know if anything else was with them, but they just kind of went back down into the drainage. But it's amazing to me how quietly they come up here. Even though when a big bull, it's exciting having elk within 30 yards. Footsteps. So close.
This segment is brought to you by Siberian Coolers. Be the alpha, own the alpha. This segment is brought to you by Outdoor Edge. Change your blade, not your knife, with the sharpest, strongest, replaceable blade knives.
With just a little bit of light left. We were in elk all afternoon, and I thought we were going to seal the deal on that bull. It's amazing. People who don't hunt, especially archery hunts, say you were 30 yards from a bull and didn't get a shot. Yeah, it happens. And he's got to be right. Just enough brush or a tree. But it sure is exciting.
James and Craig Olson joined me for the weekend. They showed us some new areas and were able to hang back and call for me. We had a fun day with 2 great encounters, but we weren't able to seal the deal.
Well, it's the end of the road for you guys, huh? Craig, real pleasure meeting you, man.
You too.
Enjoyed it. Thank you. James, can't thank you enough.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been fun.
Really appreciate it.
It's been fun.
After Chris got done taking care of some business, we just started up the logging road to go for another blind setup, and I looked up, and about 120 yards away was a nice, mature 5-point bull. And it's amazing to me still, after all these years, how something that big can walk through the woods and be so quiet. Amazing how close you can be to these animals sometimes and not have a clue. That's our boy. He's still standing Thought we played everything right. And we obviously got a little lucky that whole herd was moving towards us. There may have been 2 bulls in there, but the one bull came to 97 yards. We're above them. Thermals have been rising and good, and all of a sudden, moment of truth. Wind blows downhill. Spooks the cows, and there they go. Well, it's been about 4 hours, 5 hours since that bull and all those cows winded us and took off. Chris and I have just been hanging out here, napping, having some food. Always sit there with my arrow knocked, and I had my release on, just in case something comes up. We were just getting ready to figure out what we were gonna do, and we just heard a bugle off down the ridge. Doesn't sound ridiculously far, so I think I finished getting reorganized, put my gaiters back on. That nap felt really good. And go try to kill him again. shot was a little back. I didn't have time to get my diaphragm to stop, and then I shot and he took half a step. He's right there, 80 yards. It's good enough, man. These trees are in the way. Oh, bet he's back. He's flat. No. Yep. Well, we found where the bull bedded, and there's some blood. We've got a few tracks, but not much of a blood trail. And the way he took off, we're just gonna back out now. I've marked on the GPS and with flagging where the bed is. Leave him tonight. I want to recover him. I don't want him to suffer, and you always worry about the meat. That just drives me nuts. There's 600, 800 pounds of awesome meat on that bull, and I'm pretty sure he's dead. Morning after, so to speak. I'm gonna go try to recover my bull. I think Chris and I are gonna start on a lookout, just see if we can see any ravens, buzzards. Give that a little bit of time. The sun's already up. Maybe trying to find little specks of blood, but otherwise follow tracks. See if we can't recover this bull. He was not trotting at this point, but there's a track there. Looks like he might have dragged his hoof. Must have stood there and gripped for a little bit. It wasn't easy to this point, but I can't imagine it's going to get any easier, and we may just be looking for a body, and it's a needle in a haystack. Frustrating. Believe it. He's 80 yards from our last blood. We just hadn't made it up this hillside. Look at this. I cannot believe it. Oh, like I saw a ghost. He hadn't been up here.
Oh my gosh. Oh. Are you kidding me?
We've walked 2 miles in circles following the drainage, and we never came up this left side because we didn't find tracks or blood that came up here. oh God. I'm so glad to have found him.